Good afternoon. My name is Mark Hauer. I'm the provost at the Antioch Los Angeles campus. Welcome to the 2024 graduation ceremony. So pleased to have you here. So at Antioch Los Angeles, the campus is located, of course, in Culver City. And whenever we have an important event, we have a tradition of reading a land acknowledgement, and I want to do that before we get started. The point is to pay attention to a larger story, larger narrative, larger history than it's just happening in any one moment, but we're a part of it. Antioch University Los Angeles resides on the traditional and unceded territory of the Tongva people. These lands and the Tongva people continue to carry the stories of this nation and the people's struggles for survival and identity. With this land acknowledgement, we take a step toward learning these stories and identifying ways to join in decolonial and indigenous movements for sovereignty and self-determination. So thanks again for joining us today to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates today. Thank you so much. Honored graduates, I want to start with you. You've worked many days, months, even years in many cases. Your hard work and sacrifice, and even to this day, have allowed you to achieve your and realize your goals. I'm delighted to acknowledge your achievements and to welcome you into the community of Antioch alumni soon. You're still candidates. While we celebrate your individual accomplishments, it's also true that the success of every student rests on the support of others. Let's take a moment to acknowledge those who have helped each of you as you succeed with this learning experience, with this creating this degree for yourselves. Families and friends, we know that without you, these graduates would likely not have reached this point. Your assistance, support, and love have been critical to their success. Family members and friends who have supported, encouraged, and maybe even pushed these candidates a little. I know I speak for the candidates when I say on behalf of them, thank you so much for all you've done. Okay, the faculty have also played an important role, as that might seem obvious, for the entire learning journey. They've built the curriculum, shared their expertise, encouraged you, students, to do your best, challenged you in many ways. And many of our faculty are present today. They're dressed in many of them in these rather strange clothes. So faculty, would you please stand and be recognized by the guests and the students for all you've done to get us to this day. Thank you. I also want to take a moment to address the significance of this day for the staff, the administrators, really everyone who works for Antioch. Graduation, the commencement ceremony itself, is really a powerful reminder to us about why we do this work. It's a celebration of the work we do too. So we're at least as invested in this day, at least as excited as the candidates. I want you to know. And I'm really grateful because none of this can happen unless we have the kind of dedicated, committed staff we do. And I know that everyone on this side over here understands that, but the students don't always see what's happening behind the scenes. They do know some of our staff and administrators, but I just want to say it's essential to getting you here. Could we take a moment and just give applause to the staff and administrators for all that they've been doing? And many of them are here today volunteering to help out, so their commitment keeps on going. I want to recognize also the essential contribution of Sandy Lee, our Chief of Operations. Now, Sandy organizes this every year, and it's an amazing piece of organization, I've got to tell you. You can probably see that. You get a courtyard that suddenly turns into a space where we can host a bunch of folks and graduates. It might not look like that yesterday or later tomorrow, but right now it works, and that's all because of Sandy. It's also because the commencement committee, made up of Jonathan Hall, Andrea Richards, Francis Hernandez, and Julie Rodriguez, those folks have been working tirelessly for months now to just kind of get this organized. Could we have a round of applause for them? Thank you. Okay, now we're going to get on to the part of the program that I think you'll recognize people you came to see, so I'll stop talking soon. The psychology department at AULA is one of the oldest and largest and most successful programs in the Antioch University system. Most graduates of the Masters of Arts in Clinical Psychology go on to become therapists and counselors who are licensed to practice in the state of California. The chair of the program, Dr. Tanika Jackson, can't be with us today, but happily, Dr. Jen Ellingwood will in fact be here, and she'll be the one who kind of MCs that part of the program. Jen is the director of MAP Programs Administration, so she's well known to all the students, the faculty, and it's just a delight to have her be able to step in. And you'll notice her because she's wearing a lot of red right now. Okay, enough of me. Please welcome Jen. Let's celebrate all our psychology students. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jen Ellingwood, and I am the director of the MAP Programs Administration. It is my great pleasure today to introduce your 2024 Psychology Commencement speaker, Georgia Luber. While staying home to raise 2 children and a chocolate Labrador puppy was the most fulfilling job she has ever had, Georgia is thrilled to be on the cusp of a master's in clinical psychology from Antioch. She returned to school in 2020, thanks COVID, and graduated in 2022 from the University of Arizona with a BA in psychology. She dedicates this moment to her incredible husband, Matt, without whom this would not be possible, for his love, support, and encouragement. Please welcome the 2024 Psychology Department commencement speaker, Georgia Luber.
Before I begin, I just have to say thank you to my colleague, Arit Friedman, who, without whom I would not have opened the email that talked about this event where we could come in person and consequently would not be standing here. So thanks, Arit. Standing here in front of loved ones, classmates, and faculty, I'm deeply grateful to be here today. This is the culmination for me of a journey to a master's degree that began 35 years later than expected. I knew of Antioch's solid reputation as an institution, but I enrolled in this program with trepidation, I will be honest. I had heard that Antioch doesn't foster diversity of thought. I had heard that if my ideas didn't match the school's ideas, that I might not be a good fit. I had heard that it was woke. Antioch has an impressive history. The college's first president was Horace Mann, a well-known abolitionist and social reformer. His name is on middle schools and high schools from Beverly Hills to Brooklyn. And I was surprised to discover that the average student age at Antioch, Los Angeles is 39, and 69% are female. Since 1852, Antioch has educated activists and artists, poets and educators, civil servants and psychologists from the likes of John Doe of the punk band X to Coretta Scott King, from Rod Serling to Carol Hooven, from John Robbins to Stephen Jay Gould. What do all these people have in common? They all challenged the status quo. John Doe was punk rock, enough said. Coretta Scott King needs no introduction, but her BA in music and education from Antioch informed her work as an advocate for justice and peace. Rod Serling, a 1950 Antioch graduate with a Bachelor of Arts in Literature, often clashed with studio executives for the right to speak the truth in his Twilight Zone scripts that address social issues of all kinds, including censorship, racism, and war. Carol Hooven received her BA in psychology from Antioch and went on to study at Harvard. She wrote a book about testosterone, and as a result of the public discourse around it, she became a public advocate for free speech and evidence-based social, educational, and legal policies concerning sex and gender. John Robbins, heir to the Baskin and Robbins fortune, made us think about what we eat in his groundbreaking book, Diet for a New America. And Stephen Jay Gould, a paleontologist, evolutionary biologist, and historian of science, who was one of the most influential and widely read authors of popular science of his generation, was so controversial that he made a guest appearance as himself on an episode of The Simpsons in 1997. These alumni all had unpopular opinions, but they never wavered in their pursuit of the truth. And this is what academia is supposed to foster: complex conversation, exchange of ideas. But that's not happening on many college campuses these days. And I can say, and I'm certainly not comparing myself to the aforementioned alumni, but as a student here who has shared some unpopular opinions in nearly every one of my classes for the past 2 years, I never wavered in my pursuit of the truth. I was challenged, asked to clarify, and I had some complaints about me to a teacher, but I was never told to shut up. In fact, one professor called me brave and wrote that I demonstrated the ability to think critically and engage in difficult conversations about controversial topics in a professional manner. Another commended me for staying true to my convictions. It wasn't always easy, but I have to say, thank you, Antioch, for making me a better communicator and a more nuanced thinker. In closing, I would like to say this to the class of 2024. Have difficult conversations. Stay curious. We all have something to learn from one another, even if we don't share the same beliefs. And we must never waver in the pursuit of the places we do connect and spend less time arguing about the places we don't. Congratulations.
At this time, we will announce the names of the Psychology Department's class of 2024 who are participating in today's ceremony. Psychology candidates, please rise and form a line on the left side of the stage. Faculty, please gather on the right side of the stage to receive the graduates. Audience members, please hold your applause until the final psychology candidate has crossed the stage. Thank you. Georgia Emmeline Luber. Rihanna Joy Duenas. Julia Gash. Melissa Rojas. Sydney Fox. Ashley Mitchell. Elena Cooper. Amanda Garish. Ben Tolpin. Olivia Whitehead. Jessica Profio. Lee Wakeford. Erin Hannah Fine. Kara Jean Sunwell. Carissa Lane. Robert Story. Nick Zimmerman. Lee Huggins. Albert Rodriguez. Lilo Papikian. Tamala Takahashi. Christopher Howard. Alexandra Cepeda. Jonathan McKeary. Karen Blaze Doran. Sierra McNeil. Serene Daglian. Deepika Bisht. Andra Yoel. Valeria Yanira Quiñones Miranda. Daniel Paulsell. Scott Ferrara. Daniel Ignacio Ureña. Kelly Benini. Harper Tassie. Cynthia Cepeda. Amanda Milder. Stella Marjorie Rose Block. Allie Eagle. Melissa Townley. Jocelyn Martinez. Ashley Prickrell. Melissa Graver. Jules Hoover. Anthony Kozlowski. Sandy Laufer Blake. Miranda Hurlebus. Danielle Wiggins. Alexa McBride. Ofelia Aurora Saba Ramirez. Samantha Thomas. Matt Williams. I'm going to bring this up so it's visible, okay?
Yes.
I'll say it right now. Anthony Lewis. Sarah Michelle Patterson. Sarah Beaver. Julia Lovey. Simika Butler. Melissa Molinas Jordan. Kat Morse. Janelle Malik. Gina Marie Martinez. Montana Bus. Lauren Alexa Roselles. Hernan Garza Villarreal. Kana Lee. Nikki Headland. Tiffany Vlanderen. Leonardo Balarama Franco. Jose Ricardo Quiroz Novela. Jai Manzano. Taylor Mackenzie Lewis. Irit Rosenshine Friedman. Beth Keox. Wisteria Joy Wood. Joanna Farah. Daniel Montgomery. Jeremy Borrero. Heather Spiegel. Emily Stroya. Congratulations to the Psychology Department class of 2024.
Okay. And now for that part of today's commencement ceremony that you have all been waiting for, the conferral of degrees. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Clinical Psychology please stand and be recognized? Provost Hauer, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you for appropriate recognition the candidates for the degree of the Master of Arts in Clinical Psychology.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Antioch University, Los Angeles, and by authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of Antioch University, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Graduates, you may now move your tassel from right to left, signifying your graduation. So there's a small part left in the ceremony, and I just want to say, in truth, that part really is the one that means the most. But there is a tradition I want to make sure I honor. At Antioch, there's always a charge provided to the new graduates. Now, Antioch graduates, you're part of a long history, and I want to take a moment to share part of our origin story and connect it to the present. You've heard it in little pieces throughout your time here, I'm sure, and also even in some of the speeches today already, but there's a certain element of this I want to make sure I bring forth. Antioch College was established in Ohio in 1852. That may seem a long time ago and maybe a far place away. But there may be some things about that time that are familiar to us. This was prior to the Civil War, and our country had been deeply divided politically and regionally for decades. Political intimidation and violence were endemic. Cruelty and hate associated with slavery permeated public discourse and action. The Senate was the scene of a violent attack on a prominent senator by a congressional colleague wielding a walking cane. And the Supreme Court decisions of the time were often exacerbating those divisions. Now, Antioch College was founded in that context, and its first president, Horace Mann, was a prominent abolitionist, congressman from Massachusetts, and leader of the national movement to establish public schools and education. Mann believed that education must not be for an elite few. He understood that a democratic society required broad, active engagement of an educated citizenry. With Mann's guiding vision, the college opened in 1852 with a faculty both male and female, professors, the first institution of higher learning to do so in our country. In that first year, Antioch's preparatory school also enrolled black and white students together. This was the context when Mann delivered his final commencement address to the class of 1859, with the nation mere months away from that Civil War. It was horrible, and we still have some elements of that echoing through our current reality. At his final address, Mann challenged the students to win some victory for humanity, to win some victory for humanity. You're part of that tradition, and Mann's call is as relevant and resonates as much today as it did then. Now, over 50 years later, after Mann's invocation, John Dewey, an American philosopher and also an education reformer like Mann, wrote, "Democracy must be reborn in each generation, and education is its midwife." Mann and then Dewey remind us that a central task of our society is to recommit to its highest ideals on behalf of a better shared future for the common good. We may reimagine and commit to a better world and a better way of organizing our society and planet to be sustainable, equitable, and life-enriching. I am confident you, as Antiochians, have much to offer this better future for the common good. And whatever your path, whether as a teacher, a therapist, a manager, a writer, a community activist, or something altogether different, I know you will find your authentic way to address the injustice and inequities that diminish us individually and divide us from each other. I encourage you to continue to hone your critical thinking skills and reflective practice to deepen your capacity for compassion and connection with each other. Be an active and conscious agent of change in all you do. Thank you for that. And finally, graduates, I want to welcome you to the Antioch alumni community. You are automatically life members. We are strengthened by your addition to our community. Thank you all who attended and participated. It's been an honor. We've really enjoyed having the Antioch LA 2024 commencement ceremony with you. Thank you so much, and enjoy some refreshments and time with each other.